Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Live at Lunch series. My name is Jay Coulter, and joining me today for this episode, which is part of our exploration of cryptocurrencies and the blockchain, is Adam Blumberg of Interaxis. Adam, I appreciate you coming on the show. You know, I've been telling guests that have come on and that are lined up to come on as part of this series exploring cryptocurrencies and blockchain. This is outside of my comfort zone. Not only am I a skeptic about cryptocurrencies and blockchain, I also usually only interview people that talk about subject matter that I have at least a superficial level of understanding. So sometimes I ask the wrong questions. Sometimes I frame the questions incorrectly. There's a couple of reasons I'm excited to have you on, though, as a part of this series. Number one, you used to be a financial advisor and you gave up your practice. Number two, this is just as important. You used to be a stand-up comedian, and people like to be entertained when they come on to watch the Resilient Advisor show. So hopefully we can have some entertainment and some education about crypto.
Well, crypto is always fun to talk about.
If you have questions for Adam during the live broadcast, if you're watching on social media, simply type in your comments. They'll flow through my system, and I'll be able to ask Adam live here on the broadcast. So, Adam, the easiest question to start with is, why did you give up your advisory practice to get into this space?
My partner Ron and I, we really got interested in cryptocurrency a few years ago. It was 2017 when, of course, a lot of people get interested because crypto Bitcoin started running up in value. We actually got interested earlier in the year, and if you mentioned the comedy background, we'll talk about a kind of a funny story. Is that I started buying it after this is kind of sad, but I started buying it right after my home flooded in Hurricane Harvey. And we decided to move. We sold our house. We got our insurance money. We were still deciding where we were going to live. We were leasing a house at the time. And my partner kind of convinced me. I put a little bit of money into Bitcoin and ETH. And at this point, really, it was insurance money that I was playing around with. And if you know anything about crypto and investing in crypto and trading crypto, it is 24/7, 365, never stops. I was staring at my phone all the time looking at prices, to the point that one day my wife had to come have a talk with me. She said, "Are you having an affair?" I don't even understand what you're talking about.
Wait, so your wife legitimately asked you if you were having an affair because you were spending so much time on your phone?
She did. And here's the worst part. I legitimately considered saying yes because I thought that was a better answer than no, I'm taking some of our insurance money and putting it into fake internet money as an investment. There's therapy for an affair. There's not really therapy for insurance money into crypto. So I thought about it, and then I explained to her what I was doing, and she saw how excited I was, and I went down this rabbit hole of really learning about it. So that's a little bit of the background into crypto. To get to your question, we got really interested in understanding cryptocurrency, blockchain, decentralized finance. Last year, launched a YouTube channel that has 1,200, 1,300 subscribers or something, where we explain it all. And we want to be able to help financial advisors understand how to use cryptocurrency, give advice, have it be part of their practice. And that's just really hard to do. And also take care of our clients that we had a fiduciary obligation to. So we thought we couldn't really take our time to do both. We feel like there's a real need and a real opportunity to help financial advisors and others learn about crypto and digital assets, and it's going to be big in the future. And we thought it was best for our clients if they work with an advisor that could be doing that full time. On top of that, it's not very fun to have regulators sit in our office, go through your regular audit and have them go, "Hey, we see all these posts on LinkedIn and Twitter about crypto. Do you help your clients with crypto? Because if so, we have to see those records." So we don't want that. We don't need those questions either. So it was just something where we went through that audit once, and we said, you know what, we don't need to go through that part again, but we'll help other people as they're going through that process. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely makes sense. Your passion is in this crypto and blockchain space, so much so you gave up an advisory business. And the reason that might relate to my audience, who are primarily financial advisors and asset managers, is that they have practices that would be hard for them to conceive of giving up if they don't have an understanding potentially of the space. So Adam, and I ask all my guests this, why should an advisor, keep in mind, my audience is probably more Gen X, baby boomer, financial advisors, skeptical. Why should they even care about the space right now?
Well, that's a really good question. There are several reasons why they should care about the space, why they might want to care about the space. One is most likely they have clients that have at least asked about it, right? They have at least asked, what is this Bitcoin thing? I see it. Should I get involved? And if they're fiduciaries for their clients, if they're any sort of advisors that want to help their clients, they should at least know. They should at least have an intelligent answer, and not the answer that we've been given for the last few years, which is it's a scam. It's going to lose money. It's a Ponzi scheme. Whatever it is, it's used for criminals. All those things. Like, you just shouldn't have that answer right now. At least know a little bit about it. So you probably have clients that are at least interested, if not have already bought it and it's sitting in a Coinbase wallet, and you can actually help those clients. Those are people that, if they're already your clients, you can help them out, and they want someone to ask. They want their advisor to be able to help them. They're afraid their advisor is going to shame them and tell them, you have to go sell this and get back in your 60-40 or 80-20 portfolio, or get in the market, or whatever else, or I can put you in some other alternatives. And they're afraid of that. So if you're the advisor and you want to help your current clients, this is a way to do it. If you want to try to get new clients, they're a younger generation that is really interested in this, and they want an advisor who understands all these different types of assets, right? So there's cryptocurrency, there's art. You can buy shares of major artwork now. There's so many more real estate opportunities, alternative opportunities now, that if advisors don't understand all of these, they're going to lose the next generation. Right. And then you have this monster wealth transfer that's coming, right? You have all these, the baby boomers that have accumulated all this wealth that are going to pass it to the next generation. And the next generation is very digitally native, and they like the idea of this. You can tell it by Robinhood and robo-advisors and such, that the younger generation is going to, that they want to have some control. They want something that's not, mom and dad's, buy Exxon stock and Coca-Cola stock and get your dividends and all that. They want something a little different. And you can go down that road with crypto. And I can get way in the weeds of where we see digital assets going, and blockchain-based security tokens and real estate on blockchain and everything else that they're going to have to understand eventually. But for the time being, it's the fact that the younger generation, that there are folks that have already made some money in crypto. There are folks that just have it, and they just want to talk to their advisor. They want to see it as an investment and not a speculation anymore.
And so I do want to keep this higher level. I know that you can get deep in the weeds. One of the reasons that I wanted to bring you on as a part of this series is that your company, Interaxis, is focused on creating educational content for advisors, the folks that want to have a deep understanding of this space before they ever give any type of commentary, not recommendations.
Right.
In crypto, you got to know what you're talking about to have that level of confidence. Could you tell us a little bit about your firm and what you guys do?
Sure. So we, like I said, we started September of last year. I think we just hit our 1-year anniversary on YouTube, just explaining. And the way we explain it is, Ron, my partner, intelligently said, hey, we've been so used to explaining complex concepts to people using the whiteboard. So you see my whiteboard back here. Clients come in our office, we explain estate planning, succession planning, all these other complex ideas to clients using the whiteboard, and then they get it. He said, why don't we just explain blockchain and crypto and decentralized finance on the whiteboard, but instead of doing it to individual clients, we'll put it on YouTube. I said, I don't think it's going to work, but let's go try it. So we did it, and lo and behold, we have 1,300 something subscribers right now, and people tend to like how we explain things because we try to break it down as far as we can and make it super simple to understand. Earlier this year, we had the idea, we said, look, we're financial advisors. We might as well show financial advisors how to do this, because we feel like we can break down the complex ideas into something that they can understand. And so that's why we launched this idea of explaining digital assets, cryptocurrency, and now going even further, how do you get your practice prepared to be able to offer advice or offer asset management or something? How do you get your firm prepared from a regulatory compliance standpoint, E&O insurance, have the right forms, have the right checklist, have the right step-by-step instructions so you can help the clients. But it all comes back to, and it all starts with the education, because you and I and everyone, all these other advisors, you didn't really have to get education on how a dollar works, right? You kind of know how a dollar works, and you learn kind of by osmosis how banks work, and well, kind of how banks work, how to make it easy. You learn a little bit about how investments work, right? But blockchain cryptocurrency is just very different, and you have to break it down and go back way back to the beginning of Bitcoin and understand that enough to where then you can intelligently speak to your clients. And you can, what's most important for you is you can intelligently vet all the different opportunities, and you can do research on behalf of your clients. So you as the fiduciary or as the advisor are giving them the best advice you can give them, and you understand it better.
So as an aside, Adam, I don't think most advisors know how a dollar works or the banking system, but that's a completely different show. Let's talk about a deliverable you have for folks that are watching this live broadcast and the replay.
Sure. We have a mini course, right? If you just want to go learn a little bit about Bitcoin and blockchain and learn a little bit about how you might allocate it for your clients and why or why not they might invest, which are some of the typical why and why nots we put together a 3-day free mini course. You take this and you will know more than 99% of other advisors about cryptocurrency, about Bitcoin in particular, how it gave us blockchain technology, some of the other, some of the allocation you might look at. And from there, you get to decide, do I want to go down this road, or is it too much? Or now do I have enough ammunition to just at least have these conversations with my clients? All right, because the important thing as advisors is you have to know enough to be able to do the research, because the technology is always going to change. The offerings are always going to change, and you need to get to a certain base so that you can then go do the research and understand where you are. So we're offering a free 3-day mini course. It's video that you'll hit online, on-demand video that you can go take, and it will get you to the point of past probably 99% of financial advisors in terms of your Bitcoin and blockchain knowledge. And we do it in the first day is the longest, probably about 40 minutes of video, and the next few days are about 20, 30 minutes. And again, you're well ahead of the game. Costs you nothing but a little bit of time. And I'll tell you this, we took months and months and months going down the rabbit hole of YouTube videos and reading white papers and everything else to get to the point where we are. So we're trying to say, look, don't go do that. We're going to condense a whole lot of it for you and let you as the advisor know what we feel like you need to be educated on.
Excellent. For podcast listeners, you can download that e-course at interaxis.io/mini course. That's interaxis.io/mini course. Our first question for today comes in from Tyrone Ross.
Hey, Tyrone.
Could you please explain the extra hurdles SEC registered FAs face when looking to get involved with crypto?
Oh, yes. The SEC loves it when financial advisors talk about cryptocurrency, which is to say they don't love it at all. So some of the extra hurdles are you need to make sure your compliance department, whether you have an in-house compliance or outsourced compliance department, is on board. You need to make sure all your compliance is up to date anyway, because you are most likely going to get audited and get a call when you start talking about crypto. So that's one thing you're just going to have to understand. You're going to get audited by the SEC or by the state if you're state registered. Make sure your compliance is up to date. It would help quite a bit if you take a look at your ADV. Make sure that you can, offer this type of advice. Offer advice on alternatives. Make sure that you're okay with whatever the fee structure you're going to charge is. You can't on your ADV obviously have something have no reference to being able to charge project fees or hourly fees, and then you charge an hourly fee to clients to help them with their crypto wallet. Okay, so you have to make sure that the fees and the fee structure you have on your ADV is commensurate with what you're actually going to offer. And then extra hurdles you have are, one, understanding what you are even allowed to talk about. So Again, your compliance department better be up to date on what you're even allowed to talk about from an SEC perspective, what your custodians can handle if you're going to talk about some crypto funds, and then you better really do a lot of CYA when it comes to your risk conversations with your clients, documenting their risk profiles, extra documentation when they're into crypto or getting into crypto. And we're going to have some of those tools available to some of our users, is just this extra documentation, signing things. I understand that I'm putting some money in cryptocurrency. I understand the technical risks. I understand the volatility and everything else. So just extra levels of CYA, extra levels of compliance, making sure you're keeping all that information, you're keeping all those forms and paperwork, and then documenting everything, documenting the emails and everything you're doing with your clients. And then, of course, as Tyrone alluded to yesterday, you jump to kind of some of the tax conversations, right? Because you don't want to run afoul of the SEC, you don't want your clients to run afoul of the IRS. And make sure that you kind of at least understand or have a good crypto tax person you can go to if you see that your clients already have crypto or they bought it years ago and they're looking to sell, that you understand what the taxable consequences are. And if you don't, you need to get a crypto CPA, someone who's an expert in this, to be able to help you out. And just make sure, again, you're documenting everything. Make sure your ADVs are up to date. Your compliance department is completely up to date on what you're doing, because there's an awfully good chance that the SEC or the state is going to come calling as soon as you state or say that you're helping your clients out in the cryptocurrency world, because they don't fully understand it and they're just going to come asking a lot of questions. And ironically enough, we're talking digital money, right? We're trying to get away from, paper money and banks and everything when we talk about digital money, and we got to go really old school with the documentation. We need paperwork. We need signatures. We need you to read this and sign it before we go down this digital money route. So it's kind of this weird dichotomy there, but it's just what you have to, what you really have to do is just more paperwork, more disclosure, more making sure that you're keeping up with risk, whether you use Riskalyze or some other service. To understand your client's risk, but a lot of CYA is going to have to go on so that you can document for the SEC or for the state what you're doing. And in all honesty, the SEC and the state, they're learning as well. So they're trying to get up to date.
So Adam, as you mentioned, Tyrone, he's on the show yesterday. We're doing a regular series we're calling Crypto Office Hours with Tyrone Ross. And that's because this is an educational journey for most advisors. Something that was uncovered for me yesterday as a newbie to the space is that he and a couple of the industry thought leaders disagree on how you should allocate to the crypto space. Based on my understanding, Tyrone believes that you should stick with the stalwart Bitcoin and maybe a little bit of ETH. And then some of his contemporaries, Jamie Hopkins over at Carson, Matt Hogan over at Bitwise, who's coming on next week, think that you should diversify. What's your take?
My take is it completely depends on the clients. And I apologize for giving you the total lawyer type answer, right? Of always, it depends. And of course, I've watched your shows with Tyrone and love Tyrone, and we talk quite a bit about this kind of stuff. I've talked to Jamie about it. I've talked to Matt about it. I think it completely depends on the goals that you have with that particular client, which goes back to why you as the advisor need to be really educated on this, so you even understand what you're doing. You don't just go out there and go, this guy said Bitcoin only, and so it's Bitcoin only. So I understand if someone is new to crypto, they don't have a lot of understanding, and they just say, look, I just want to have some sort of exposure. Then Bitcoin's the Mac Daddy, right? You go with it. It's got the most infrastructure behind it. It has lending capabilities. It has derivatives. It has so much money behind it that it has so much security. It has the custodial factor built around it. So Bitcoin is that. If your clients are very tech savvy, if they've already gotten into some of these cryptocurrencies and they already understand them, and you're just helping them out with how does it fit into your overall financial plan, then that's a very different story. There's a difference between those that are inching their way into the space as a client, as an investor, and those that have kind of already been there and have this tech knowledge or tech background and can kind of understand it. I don't think it's that bad from that perspective to branch out a little bit. We're a little different. I've probably tried 200 different tokens, different coins, sometimes just because I want to try them out and see what they do and see how they work, which means I've probably lost quite a bit of money on this, but I'm doing it for you guys, right? I've lost money so that I can educate everyone out there and tell you, here's what not to do, or here's what you should do. Again, if it's new clients, if it's new money you're trying to bring in, or they have just a little bit, Bitcoin, maybe a little bit of ETH, because it's kind of a little more fun and has a different story. Remember, they have different ways that they should be valued anyway. So that's why you might want to go with a little bit of ETH. But Bitcoin's the easiest one. It's the one they're going to know about. It's the easiest to find pricing on. It's got the most liquidity, all those things. So again, new clients, Bitcoin only, maybe a little of ETH. Everyone else, if they're really tech savvy, they've already been into it, then you got to start having those conversations about what is this Chainlink thing, or what is BAT, right? Mm-hmm. So Tyrone, you're not that outnumbered. I'm saying for the most part, it's Bitcoin only. For most people getting into this, just go with Bitcoin and wait until there's more infrastructure. Wait until we know more about everything else. If you're already into it, then you as the advisor, better learn something really quickly if you got clients that are already into other cryptocurrencies.
Awesome. Well, Adam, listen, I appreciate you coming on. I asked you to keep this very high level for my audience. We're going to try and take viewers and listeners on a journey, an educational journey to learn about the space and the applications for their practice. Your offer for this e-course is fantastic. Listeners, visit interaxis.io/mini course. I'm actually going to take it myself because I think it will help me ask better questions on this show. As we continue down this path, Adam, I'd love to have you back on to talk about some of the more technical aspects of the space. And
sure.
So let's wrap with this. If we were going to do a technical show on one aspect of decentralized finance, cryptocurrencies, or the blockchain, what would you be most passionate talking about?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. I think I would be really, I would be really passionate talking about decentralized finance, because that is where we really see the benefit. Because Bitcoin itself right now is kind of an asset class, right? It's digital gold. It's an asset class all to itself. But the ethos of Bitcoin, again, if you've gone through the course and even understand Bitcoin, the ethos of it is decentralized finance. It's disintermediating and taking the banks and the governments out of the equation, and trying to increase the number of participants in the worldwide ecosystem. That is something I'm really passionate about if we want to go down those roads, and it doesn't necessarily have to get overly technical. And I promise you, I can get on the whiteboard back here and I will have you pretty much understanding it in 30 minutes.
Excellent. So, that's actually what turned my attention to Bitcoin. I watched a couple of documentaries about the decentralized nature of it and the fact that it's been able to help people in third world countries or in countries that also have currency situations where there's stress on the currency or a collapse, people be able to save some of their net worth. And that took me down this rabbit hole that you've been going down for a long time. Yeah. That's why we're doing this series. Adam, I really appreciate you coming on the show.
I really appreciate it. Look, it's an honor to be even mentioned with like Tyrone and Matt, because those are big educators and they're amazing in this space. And Tyrone has brought me along so far and has helped me out so much. So it's just an honor to be on here, kind of alongside them in this crypto world.